Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate, or I go by AlwaysMoreSims here on YouTube. You guys know the whole spiel. Today we're doing another speed build. So the first thing I had to do, because this lot is a 40 by 40. I haven't built on a 40 by 40 lot in a really long time. And I also did not have any 40 by 40 lots placed in the world, or like had any opening spots to place one in the world. So I had to paint over this like cement area, this like stone area. So I don't know if you guys go to download this house, if like the stone would be the like default, I guess, ground. Like if you were to erase some of the terrain paint, if it would reveal the stone. I have no idea. Anyways, so I feel like I've gotten kind of a bit of ahead of myself, but then at the same time it's for a reason. So this house is built for my Feig challenge. For every generation there's a genre. The thing is, I've only just like started generation 5, and I'm already building what I intend to be our like one of our kids' houses. Like I've already planned what all the kids' names are going to be. I've planned what I want their spouses' names to be, what I want their kids' names to be. Like I'm, control freak to the max. And so I've already built the house. So this is, I actually did quite a bit of this house on a diagonal. I haven't built on a diagonal, I think, in like ever. If like possibly I've done it, but I can't recall having a speed build with like on an angle done at a diagonal. So it made things very interesting. Normally I can knock out a speed build in about an hour. This one took me exactly 2 hours and like 3 seconds. It's also rather small for being like, for having taken 2 hours, but that's mainly because it's on a diagonal. So it took me a while to figure out the diagonal, to figure out things that are on like the diagonal walls. The roof, actually, I'm quite proud of the roof. I felt like this is probably the most decent roof I've had in a while. However, the house is predominantly red on the outside. And looking back at it, one thing I would change is that, like, this is the garage area that we were building right here. Once again, I did end up using those custom content 3 tile doors. So that's the only custom content I used. Everything else is from a pack. Anyways, the whole garage is red. You'll see once I paint the house that the entire garage is red, where like the rest of the house, especially like the back of the house, is a mix of red, like a cream siding, and then stone. And I really wish I'd painted that like that little gap of the roof. I don't know what it's called, but like the triangle above the garage doors, or where the garage doors will be. I wish I had painted that something other than red, because it's just a lot of red looking at the front of the house. So if that was like, if I hadn't already exported the house, I would go back and change that to probably be stone, but I've already exported it and I don't want to do it again, so we're just gonna leave it. However, I don't remember what I named this house. Oh, cinnamon sugar. I named it cinnamon sugar. I don't know. I was like thinking, I was like, well, it's like, the red is actually what had me thinking cinnamon. And then I was like, well, I mean, like the creamish color is kind of like a cinnamon sugary color. So I called it cinnamon sugar, and I don't know that it necessarily fits, but that's what the house is called. Again, it's on a 40 by 40 lot, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. There is a poorly decorated nursery. There's like a little office nook. There's laundry. There's this freaking huge garage. That's really about it. There's this little pop out on the back that's red. That's a little sunroom. But because it's on an angle, the windows did not place how I wanted them to, so it looks a little odd. I don't know. I actually was quite happy with this house, though. Like, I was pretty happy with how it turned out. I really struggled with the things that were on the diagonal. Like, the kitchen is actually on the diagonal. The kitchen and the laundry room, I really, really struggled with. I wasn't sure how I wanted to do that, like what I wanted to do, how I was going to place things, because it's really odd. The game will let you place the diagonals on like starting at different spots, and I have no better way of explaining this, so I know it doesn't make any sense, but like you can start the diagonal like on like one part of the square, or you can start it on a different part of the square, but it will only allow you to line things up if it's started a certain way. Like, I understand this makes no sense. Like, you have to build at the diagonal walls to, I guess, understand what I'm saying. But that also, like, goes for lining things up. So sometimes it will slot pretty nicely, and then other times it will slot and, like, you'll spin around and you'll have an object sticking halfway out the wall. So, like, it's just... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I did kind of struggle though, I guess, with actually just like the main living space. The outside of the house, I feel kind of gives the impression that it's a lot bigger than it is, and it's not. It's actually a pretty small house. The master bathroom is teeny tiny. But that's also because I was extra with, like, I don't know what it is about putting water closets in houses, which is like when the toilet's in its own little like alcove. I believe it's technically called a water closet, and I put them in a lot of my houses. I don't know why, but I do. And then I actually ended up putting the shower. It's not in a water closet, but it is in like a hall, and I put like a platform, and it's like in its own little hallway. And if the like standalone showers from Sunlit Tides were not store content, I would have used one of those, but they are, and I don't like using store content because it's bad enough that I don't really refrain from using specific packs. Like, I just pretty much let myself use... I try to stick to expansion packs. I don't like using the stuff packs, but I pretty much let myself use any expansion pack. So I try not to use stuff packs or store content. But I would have, like, ideally, I would have used one of the, like, outdoor shower things in the master bathroom, just because I felt like that made more sense than having, like, an actual shower stall. Anyways, because of like the hall, like this little alcove for the shower plus the water closet, the master bathroom is really small. There's also no laundry hamper in there because the laundry hamper would not fit without like risking having routing problems, because this is The Sims 3 and we get stuck on everything. I think in my head was under the belief that this like living area, like the living room area, which is where the fireplace is, was bigger than it was. I was like, I'm gonna have these columns that like to kind of define the space a little bit. And then I was like, this area is too small for columns. The columns are not staying. However, I actually did end up keeping a couple of them to separate the kitchen. I kept one in the end. So there's the two by the door, like in the entryway, those stay. And then there's the two that are a little further back in the house, like right across from the fireplace. So there's the two by the fireplace, those stay. But the two across from the fireplace, only one of those stays. That laundry room is huge. The laundry room probably didn't need to be as big as it was. But anyways, the columns, like I ended up using like one column when I did the kitchen, and in my head I was like, I'm gonna have a kitchen with an island, like a bar island, and along with a dining room table, along with, you know, a living room. And then I actually started doing the kitchen. I'm like, that is not going to work. This is not gonna work out. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll still do like it's technically seats 6 Sims, so it's not like the really long table, but it's like not a 4-seater either. And I was like, I'll put that there. And I was like, no, that also will not work. And then we just ended up doing a 4-seater with 3 chairs, because I only intend on this child specifically having one child. And like, if you download the house, it'll say in the description who this house is built for, which if you download it will give away like the kids' names. I don't know if I talked about what I intend on naming the kids in like the last generation. I don't know if I discussed it at all. I do have it all planned out though, and again, if you download the house, you'll see one of the names. If I haven't discussed it, and we'll might possibly kind of give away, but it's not like it's that big of a secret. But at the same time, I feel like I get into this habit. I'm like, oh, well, this is gonna be the kids' names, and like I just like come out and say, well, this is how the entire generation's gonna go. And I feel like that kind of takes away from it, because I just get so excited. I'm like, look, I've planned it all out perfectly. And then it comes down to, I'm like, well, you guys already know this. There is no surprise left. So we're having 5 kids. I'll tell you that. And I think I might have shared that fact as well. Because the last couple generations have been, you know, have 1 kid. Well, I guess Reed was one of 4. But like, after only having the 1 kid with Wade, and also having 1 kid in I'm a Lover with Bloom, I'm itching to actually have a couple of kids. So we get to choose how many kids we have, and I felt like 5 was a reasonable number. So 4 of like the first 4 kids will all be like Ready Player One themed, and then the 5th kid will be our heir, who will be named after the following generation. And yeah. Yeah. Let's see what else. I don't have any stories today. That's why I'm trying my best to talk about the house as much as I can, because I don't have any stories for you. Because I built the house yesterday. This bead build, also for your information, doesn't go up for another 2 weeks, but I built the house yesterday, and like the day before, when I was like, oh, I should probably, well, I told myself I was going to get all, like, pretty much the entire month, like a month of content pre-recorded, and I've actually done a pretty decent job, I will say. But like, school has started, and this is like going to be my busiest school year yet, and I've been very nervous about how I was going to handle it, because I knew it was going to be so busy, and I was a little afraid. Like, my goal was that by having all of this stuff pre-recorded, it would allow me some breathing room to figure out what my life is basically going to look like, as I try to figure out my own schedule, with everything, you know, with how things are going to be now. So but I was like, well, I was looking over my schedule, and in the past there have been times that like I like to build all of the houses for my kids. I did it for Disney Legacy. I've been doing it for Feig. I really like doing it. I like having a purpose for something that I build. Like, I kind of struggle when it's just, oh, this is just a house I built. And that's how most of my speed builds used to be. You're just like, oh, like, I don't know, here's a house. Like, there's no reason behind the house. But when I have a goal, like a reason to build the house. I know better what to furnish it with. I feel a lot better furnishing the bedrooms because this isn't just a house that I'm uploading for you guys. It's actually something that I'm going to put Sims in. And because I am, you know, the control freak that I am, I know like what kind of kids are going to be in these rooms. So I can then decorate accordingly. And I don't know, I've just, in the past, I've gotten behind when I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to have like a bunch of kids. Well, then I was like, oh, well, I'm going to start building this house like the week before the sim is like due to age up into a young adult. But the thing is, like, I only post speed builds on like certain days, and never mind the fact that like that sim has a younger sibling that's aging up the following week. Well, I am only doing one speed build over those 2 weeks, and now I'm behind, and now like this sim's moving into a house, and you guys haven't seen the house, and I still have to build the house, and like it's just a whole thing. So my thought process was that I would get ahead of it. I am a little concerned I'm a little too far ahead of it. I don't know, because I have to build at least 4 houses. And I mean, like, that'll take the next... Again, I typically post 2 speed builds a month. I'm trying to do, like, 2 current households a month and 2 speed builds a month. The speed builds take way less time. But I'm gonna be honest, I have more fun doing the current households. Like, I don't mind doing speed builds, but it's like one of those things that I do kind of have to, like, okay, we're gonna do a speed build. Because it's just, it's sitting here... like halfway mentally checked out. I don't know. So I don't know that like I'm a little too ahead of the game. Not quite sure. But if I am, you know what, I am. And I have everything, like all the houses will be ready by the time the Sims need to move into them. And it might be one of those things that I end up building a starter home for our heir again. I normally don't do that. This is what I was talking about with the bathroom. The master bathroom is itty bitty. But like, I built Wade a starter home. I don't normally build my Sims starter homes. Well, no, I lied. Because I built Kelsey's quote unquote starter home. And I did build Diana's I think I built technically all of them, but I did not build... I know I didn't build Diana's starter home with Diana in mind. Like, that was not the purpose of the starter home. It was just a cheap house that I had in my household inventory. I built it, but it was not for Diana. And now I can't remember what Kita's house was. No, Kita's house was the same way. It was a house I already had in my library that I just happened to move her into. So, yeah. But Kelsey and Wade, I built them both starter homes, but like Kelsey's had room for us to like start a family in, and Wade's house does not. Wade's house has enough room for Wade and barely enough room for the dog, and like that's it. So his is like totally starter home. We'll have to move into the other house as soon as they start having kids. As soon as I can get Wade to find somebody that isn't married, that isn't going to call us boring, that isn't going to waste my time. I'm glad, I don't know if, has that part been posted yet? It has. Okay. I'm glad I checked Mia. Like, I'm glad I went and found her through the world, because that's what I'd been doing. I'd been looking for Mia in the world so I could go give her makeover. But then when I hovered over like her little house icon, there was her, a man, and 2 babies. I was like, oh no. She's married with twin babies. And sure enough, I was like, well, gosh dang it. So as soon as we find somebody for poor Wade, then we can actually start having kids. So I'm like way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game. When I recorded part 3 originally, and then my game crashed right towards the end of the recording, and instead of deciding I was going to post like the 18 minutes, but then like after I'd edit it, it'd probably get down to like 13-14 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to post something that short. I was like, well, nothing really happened, so I'll just like re-record it. It's fine. I only lost like 2 days or something. And let me tell you, the first way I played went completely different than the second way, like the second time through. So I hadn't been anticipating that. I was thinking Fiona was going to be the person that we ended up marrying. But that didn't happen because she called us boring while we were taking her to dinner. What else was I going to do? She was the one that chose to leave because she had to go to work. Anyways, we're in the screenshots. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I will say I didn't put as much of like the itty bitty details. So like the soap dispensers and like the toilet paper and the little pen things that I normally put on desks and on the counter. Like I didn't put that in this house, but other than that, I don't think I forgot anything. So feel free to download the house down below. Don't steal it. That's not nice. Thank you guys, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.